All right, guys, streaming is on the rise. We all know that. It's kind of the new way to watch TV. But if you're just getting started, how do you know whether or not to choose a smart TV versus a streaming device on your TV? We're going to get into it and talk about when you might choose one over the other. Smart TVs versus streaming devices. This can be a little tricky. There's a lot of people out there we talk to think they need a smart TV to stream and cut the cord and whatnot. And you really don't. It is one of the ways you can do it. The other option is to add a streaming device such as a Roku, Fire Stick, or Chromecast, NVIDIA Shield, Apple TV. There's a lot of them out there to your TV and stream that way. So we're going to kind of talk about the pros and cons of when you might choose one over the other so you guys can help actually make a decision. Because what we've run into is the do as I do advice. We see it all the time. Hey, just go get yourself a Roku and stream. Go get yourself a Fire Stick and you'll be great. But what if I don't like Fire Stick? What if I don't like Roku? What if I had just spent a lot of money on a nice new smart TV in my living room and I want to use that? So we're going to cover when you might want to do that and when not. All right, so let's talk about smart TVs first. Smart TVs, really about any TV you've bought in the last 5, 6, 7 years, have all been smart TVs. And they come in a lot of flavors, a lot of shapes and sizes and everything. Um, I obviously can't list every TV that we trust. That would take too long and it wouldn't really help you. So in general, my advice is if you've bought a TV in the last couple years, it's probably going to be okay for streaming. If your TV is 5, 6 years old, I would probably tend to lean towards a streaming device just because I don't know that you're going to have the great experience that that you want when it comes to cutting the cord. I mean, the last thing you want to do is be troubleshooting buffering or why the button sticks or just whatever. I mean, just in general, TVs have gotten better over the last several years. And the good news is they're fairly inexpensive too, which is nice. Um, However, I would say some of the older TVs are really going to struggle with this. Smart TVs do come in a couple different flavors. For example, they do have some that actually have basically a streaming device built into them. So if you look at, say, a Roku TV made by TCL and a couple other off brands, Amazon Fire makes a Fire TV version, which is basically a Fire Stick baked into a TV. We see those as pretty decent options. Now, they are fairly inexpensive TVs, so just in general, I wouldn't expect them to last forever. But I think that's kind of with any TV nowadays. I mean, these companies don't make money by selling you a TV that lasts forever. They want to sell you a new one every couple of years. So I don't really know about the longevity of any of these TVs. And if you guys have a comment about that, hey, I bought this TV and it's worked really well, or yeah, I bought this one and it crapped out in 2 minutes, go ahead and put it in the comments because we like reading about it. We like understanding and educating. Obviously, we don't have every TV out there. So it is we just really don't feel that the longevity of these TVs works really well. And as you'll hear in a minute, we also don't really see the longevity on streaming devices either. So we'll get into that. So there are a lot of streaming devices out there to choose from. Apple TV, Chromecast, Google Chromecast, which is now Google TV, Amazon Fire Stick, Roku's, NVIDIA Shield makes an Android version. I mean, there's just, heck, I even was trying out a T-Mobile router, and they gave me a T-Mobile streaming box. I mean, there's 1,000 of them out there. We typically stick with the name brand ones, your Amazon Fire Sticks, your Roku's, your Apple TVs, and stuff like that. But when would you want to choose one over the other? Like we talked about just a minute ago, if you have an older TV, we would highly recommend using an Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, whatever. We just really feel that you're going to have a better streaming experience. So these old TVs just can't handle it. However, one thing I wanted to kind of point out is if you're a beginner and you're just starting out and you're nervous about all this, putting a streaming device, the same one on every TV, really can help with this learning curve. And let me kind of get into that for you. When we go into a house to help someone cut the cord or whatnot, we rarely find the same model and brand of TV everywhere. Everybody's got a deal, and we bought that one last year and this one 2 years ago and whatever. And they're all different brands, all different whatever the latest deal was on Black Friday or whatever. So if you're just starting out, one of the nice things about putting a streaming device on each of your TVs is if you have 6 different brands of TVs, that's six different remotes you got to know, 6 different interfaces you got to kind of navigate through to find your apps and install things and stuff like that. It's 6 different ways to stream in your house. By putting an Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV, whatever your this video isn't about which one's best, but whatever your one that you like is, um, on each TV, you have the same remote on every TV. You can turn on and off the volume, so you don't need 10 remotes usually. And the interface is the exact same. You can even put the icons in the same order so you do the exact same process each time. And we find that if you're a beginner and you're a little nervous about this really does help with the learning curve. People don't want to have to remember how to do it in the kitchen versus how to do it in the living room. It just helps people kind of get over that hump so they can focus on using the app and streaming and adding things to your DVR, not trying to figure this thing out. So if you have a lot of TVs and you just like the idea of the interface being the same on all of them, and I would even argue typically the same as your cable box. When you had cable, all of your TVs looked the same. It didn't matter what model of TV it was. You were connected to the box, and the box is what gave you the interface. This is the same concept. Yes, it does add a little bit of cost, but it does simplify your process a little bit. And so that's one really big reason why someone would maybe want to use a streaming device over a smart TV. We like smart TVs, they work really well, but I would say that the person who's a little bit more of a novice is going to have an easier time navigating those remotes and stuff like that. If you feel comfortable with the remotes you have and know you have smart TVs, by all means, you do not need a streaming device to stream. However, I will tell you they do a good job. They are good. The longevity of them, I don't know. They're a mass produced item. Most of them are around $50. They're not going to last forever. You're probably going to have to replace them, every few years, pretty easily. We've had some pretty good luck. We have people who use Roku for the last probably 4 or 5 years and really never haven't had any issues. So I think it depends on which one you buy too. But at the end of the day, don't expect them to last forever. So I want to throw one little more caveat out here that just comes to mind if you're kind of making the decision between smart TV and streaming device, and it pertains to your internet company. Okay, so what do I mean? All right, so internet companies nowadays, a lot of them have data caps. And so what a data cap is you basically have this much internet you can use each month, and then they're going to start billing you extra. And so there's something you really need to know if that is you. So if this is you, pay attention. When you are watching streaming on a smart TV and you shut off the power to go to bed or whatever, that smart TV is no longer streaming. It's off. Can't stream with the power off. However, if you have a Roku hooked up to that smart TV and you shut the power off to the TV, that Roku is still streaming in the background with your TV off. So we have to tell all of our customers who have data caps to make sure they hit that home button. Make sure you go to the home screen of whatever device you're using before you shut off your TV, because these streaming devices will stream for 2 or 3 hours easily with the TV off. And then you're just wasting that data. So I just wanted to throw a little cautionary tale out there. If you are worried about going over your data limits and you like the idea of using something simple like a Roku at your house, just keep in mind you're going to want to hit that home button before you shut off your TV on whichever TV you're watching, because the streaming devices themselves don't turn off. They're on all the time. As long as they got power, they're on. And so if you just shut off the TV, that other device is just streaming in the background with the TV off. And we just really want to kind of help our people understand that could incur some extra costs. So just something to think about. Okay, so let's sum things up. When would you use one over the other? Really, it boils down to the person. Okay, so like I said, if you're a novice and you have fairly new smart TVs, I would say go for it. Don't spend the extra money. You guys probably do okay. You'll have a good streaming experience. Just make sure that TV is connected to your 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi or physically plugged into an Ethernet cable. That makes a big difference, and that's for another video. However, if you're more of a beginner, which is a lot of the people we deal with, they're a beginner, they're nervous, they, you know, don't even really fully understand streaming, to be honest. We really kind of recommend spending a little bit of extra money and putting a streaming device on your TVs, and it's going to make the interface look the same. It's going to make the experience, I think, go a little smoother typically because you don't. It's one less thing you got to kind of learn along the way. And we just find that these streaming devices actually do a really good job with streaming. They typically do a really good job. So it'd be more along the lines of find a streaming device that you guys like, and we'll have some videos on those. We already have a Roku versus Fire Stick video if you'd like to check that out. But we really feel if you're nervous and you're just starting out, potentially using a streaming device is going to be a better move for you. Thank you very much. Like or follow us for more videos like this. If you found this helpful, we'd love to hear from you.